KTGR, The Big Show, starts now.
You bet it does. Welcome in to Thursday's edition of The Big Show on your total sports station, KTGR. Dandy and Brendan's back. Oh, man. Sienna, we believed in you.
I believed in you so much, and then you stopped scoring for 6.5 full minutes of a basketball game against Duke. So that, that could.
Man!
But, I mean, I really thought, man, if they had one or two more shots fall, it was going to happen. And they came up short. But High Point, I mean, we've already had some magic today.
Well done, High Point.
The very first afternoon. Yeah, well done. It doesn't always feel like, and I don't know. I think I flush it every year, and my memory isn't always as good. Doesn't it always feel like Wisconsin is on upset alert in these 5-12 or the 4-13? Like almost every year, it feels like, oh, Wisconsin, be careful. And then here they go. They lose to High Point. That was fun, though. We're having a fun tournament.
This is a very promising start to it. As far as how the first round will end, that'll be with Mizzou's game. So we'll talk about Mizzou's game and the over-unders for it coming up in a bit. We're going to talk some Mizzou football today. Not surprising, but a notable update by Eli Drinkwitz today that we'll get into. Lots more to come. We'll also chat Mizzou women's hoops. They play tonight in the WBIT. Brad Tregnago joins us at 4:25. Let's get to this, though.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
Look, we'll play over-unders here in a bit for the Mizzou and Miami game. I have a hard time trying to parse out what it might be because these two teams are so even. They are almost the same. It is, in fact, the Spider-Man meme. Look, that's you or me, you. So how do we parse it out? I think you look at particular matchups with who Mizzou will have primarily take on Trey Donaldson at the point. We'll see which hot hands Mizzou probably has at point guard to be able to make that happen. Malik Renaud is a like for Mark Mitchell. That could be a very interesting over-under. Who has more there? But those are the margins that are going to decide what happens in tomorrow's late night capper. Mizzou, Miami, and St. Louis at 9:10 p.m. approximately. That's the Big Show's Big Deal. 19th day of March 2026 as we play the over-under game with Mizzou, Miami. They are exactly carbon copies, stats-wise.
Very similar. Very similar teams.
What you could have there. Playing about as well as each other is playing at the moment, too, heading into this tournament. If you look at those metrics and you believe in momentum at all, it's kind of the same there, too. And so when you then have to look and see, well, are there a few more players right now that are producing for Miami? Maybe so, or harder guys to deal with. How does Mizzou then combat that as we play the over-under game here?
And then the Ken Palm, too, like, they're very similar teams. Does it feel like the metrics just kind of think Miami's a little bit better across the board at each of the things like that Missouri does well, Miami does them a little bit better? That's a concern to me. You do have the potential for home court advantage. I'm eager, Andy, to see what that building looks like tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, it's tricky. So yesterday, I don't know what Andy told you guys, but I was on a hiatus. I found a remote location to do some meditating and dig deep into the research on this Mizzou Miami game.
Wow.
And yeah, that's what I was doing yesterday.
Okay.
And not quite. But can I bring to you my concerns and see how we package them into an over-under?
Yes.
Concern number one. Miami forces 12.7 turnovers per game, 76th most in the country, which might not sound great, but it's like, I don't know, there's 360 teams. So it's pretty good in terms of how they rate relative to everybody else. They turn you over, Andy. T.O. Barrett has been reckless with the basketball recently. We've seen Mark Mitchell turn the ball over. We've seen Sean Phillips turn the ball over. Over under, I'll just do it right there. Over under 12.5 turnovers for Missouri.
Oh,
in terms of how many times they give it away in this game. Not just the steals, but like taking care of the basketball or not. How often does Miami get the better of Missouri in this game? I'll start there. This is a concern of mine because of
it should be.
The strength of Miami is to take that basketball away from you.
You want to see greens when you're looking at KenPom's matchup in each one of these games. You want to see greens for your own team and reds for the other. In a lot of rows, it is for this Mizzou-Miami game, a lot of it is both teams are green or both teams are red. And so you're like, okay, well, it's kind of even there. There's not really going to be an edge. But that is one of the few categories, Brendan, of when Missouri has the ball. The turnover percentage for Missouri is in red, and the turnover percentage for Miami defensively is in green. And that is the exploitation that Jay Lucas, I'm sure, is going to be trying to figure out, and C.Y. Young is going to try and figure out himself when he tries to coach tries to coach up his players currently to maybe talk about the tendencies of what he knows about a good portion of Mizzou's roster right now.
Yeah, he knows Anthony Robinson. Yeah. He knows Theo Barrett. He knows what those guards are looking to do. He knows what makes Mark Mitchell tick. I thought Kentucky did a good job of figuring that out in the SEC tournament where Mark Mitchell dominated them, 32 points. But a couple of key moments, they were able to read a tendency of him on a spin move and get some help defense to swipe that ball away. I feel like that's going to be a strength and going to be something you got to look out for in this game against Miami. I mentioned what a job that coaching staff has done, though. Really just completely a new team there in Miami, and they're right back in the tournament where we're used to seeing them. So that's pretty impressive by itself. Andy,
to answer your question, I'll say over 12.5.
I do too.
Yeah.
I struggle to think that Missouri is suddenly going to turn into this buttoned-up team that just is crisp with the basketball for 40 minutes against a team who makes its hay doing exactly that, taking it away from you. Now, if you give it away 13, 14 times, but you take it away 11 or 12 times, you can still win this game.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my number one is, take care of the basketball and try to negate what Miami is so naturally going to be good at doing. Here's another aspect. Let's talk about interior. Mm-hmm. You mentioned it. They've got a Mark Mitchell clone. I mean, they've got a dude 6'9", 238, averages nearly 20 points per game. That'll be a fun matchup to see as both of those guys try to get theirs offensively. What I'm curious about for Missouri is defensively, it's not just him that you have to stop on the interior. They've got a big old dude, 6'11", 260, that isn't a huge scoring threat, but
Ernest Uday. Yeah.
Uday is going to rebound. He's going to block shots. What does the interior situation look like in this game? And we'll come up with an over-under for this. Here, over-under, 1.5 Sean Phillip fouls in the first 10 minutes of the game.
Oh, man.
He's got to stay clean, Andy, is my point with this question.
For sure. Yeah, that's definitely
because if he gets a second foul, that means, okay, are we trying Trent Burns? Are we trying Nick Randall? Are we trying to play small and let Mark Mitchell become susceptible to picking up fouls that he cannot afford to pick up? Because he's got to be the lead scorer for this team and in there for as many minutes as he can play.
Yeah, I do fear about that. I would probably say over on that too. Now,
can't do it.
The hope is that
have that.
The hope is that it happens like the second foul comes with about 10.5 to go instead of 17.5 to go, like it happened against Kentucky. Now that's at least part of the hope, right? That you can at least give Sean Phillips a spell. And that's when you would usually give Phillips a spell. It just unfortunately would happen when he picks up his second foul. But you can leave him on the floor for a little bit longer than you could when they were playing Kentucky. And that clearly put Mizzou behind the 8 ball there. So
I'm not done, by the way.
Well, I understand. Yeah.
0.5 Sean Phillips, technical
flagrant
fouls.
Man.
Does he pick another one up? I'm going to say technical and flagrant go in the same pile because it's all about discipline, Andy. You just can't let it happen, kid. I mean, he's got so much going for him. They need. I'm
going to say no. I'm going to say under for this because again, we talk about who might be officiating these games, and it's maybe there's a chance that there's a primary guy who has been reffing SEC games a bunch and maybe has reffed a few Sean Phillips games. I don't know for sure if they make those refs avoid first-round matchups or anything like that. But I would think that we're seeing officials in this game that have not seen Mizzou very much, if at all. Maybe
They're
one
not
or
gonna be
two of them have
hunting it
exactly. They don't know
the way that our refs.
They're not as
typically
ingrained as to what the reputation of Sean Phillips was in the league throughout this whole season. So maybe that gets lessened a little bit, and Phillips can avoid those. Look, I think it's another one of those key spots where if he doesn't stay on the floor, then Miami's a great offensive rebounding team, and you're going to have to find more ways to make that up, because you might have to go on the other end and try to take away possessions that way by getting offensive boards yourself. So like that's going to be tough if Sean Phillips can't stay on the floor. Now, you had one more, Brendan, or did you? Or was that those were your main concerns?
It was the Phillips general stay out of foul trouble, but like this Uday guy is going to get him into. I mean, these guys are some big dudes. They're going to get into some physical, back and forth. He's going to pick up some fouls. He can't pick up a foul for something that happens up here mentally rather than something that happens in the physical element of the game. That's where the technical, the flagrant comes in. Just don't hit anybody in the face. Yeah. They're going to review it. You don't have to do that. It doesn't really garner you a ton of an advantage. If he picks up, 3-4 hard-nosed fouls in this game, or if he fouls out late, so be it. But earn them. I mean, make the other team at least earn it by you're establishing the interior physically, because that is what Sean Phillips brings. Trent Burns, I'm hopeful for his future. He's not physical enough just yet to be able to come in and fill the role that I think Missouri is going to need filled from the 5 defensively in this game. I just think it's going to need to be more Sean Phillips, or a whole heck of a lot of a creative way to avoid getting just absolutely beaten on the interior when it comes to the paint points that you could give up.
Call or text us with over-unders that you want us to weigh in on for this game, 573-875-KTGR, as we continue to prepare for Mizzou Miami tomorrow. Here's one that I will ask, though. This is a positive one. This is one that maybe Mizzou can have in their favor. Talk about the red areas and the green areas on KenPom. One that does favor Mizzou in this game. Mizzou, at least season long, not awesome in this category, but better than most teams. They're 35% hitting threes, which kind of is slightly colored green because it's better than average. It's
Do you think of us as a good 3-point shooting team?
I don't think of us as a bad one. I
guess that's true,
right? So like they've got some guys that can knock them down. Now, have they done them in some key spots, and you hope that it would happen? That maybe first half type of shooting percentages has really dipped recently, but I mean, here's the other side of it. Miami does not have a good opposing 3-point percentage. Opponents have gone 35.4% from 3, and that ranks 272nd in the country. So that's a spot where, like, look, if Miami is not as good at hitting the 3, then maybe Mizzou early on can get to some better looks than maybe they were trying to take early in games during this stretch in March that they've been trying to trudge through. Maybe they're able to get better looks early on for Jaden Stone and for Trent Pierce. And then when Jacob Cruz eventually gets his moments, he can find some cleaner looks. That's maybe the hope, is that a team like Miami that season long has allowed some opponents to light it up from 3. Maybe that's more of a Miami problem, and they're just not all that great at their closeouts and shutting down those open looks.
Yeah, here's a question, though, because Missouri's percentage, where does that rank on the 3-point percentage? You said
118th.
Okay, so that's like top third. That's very solid. That's not a deficit by any stretch of the imagination. I'm curious, though. I'm looking this up now. How many 3-point, because Missouri doesn't make a lot of threes per game, which implies we don't shoot a lot of threes per game. Just 7.2 made threes per game, which is 228th in college basketball. And to have a solid percentage and be that low just tells you that I don't think Missouri, like, you don't have a Caleb Grill on this team that he's getting 6-8 threes up per game and he's going to knock 2, 3, 4 of them down.
Sure.
And that's your 3-point offense. Jacob Cruz, there was a thought, I think, early in the year that he would be that. He just hasn't knocked them down at that rate, and his minutes have been diminished. So I guess, how do you want to frame this? I'll say this: if their season average is 7.2, is Missouri at least knocking down over 7.5 threes in this game? Because they'll have to shoot more of them than normal if they're going to hit that. The percentage is not the problem. It's within a singular game, hitting that requisite percentage on a reasonable amount of attempts. And I feel like their attempts are not necessarily as high. They are 270th out of 366 teams in just attempting 20.5 threes per game.
I would think, I will say they have a shot to get to 8, so I'll say over.
Yeah, I think they need 8. I think we saw it. I mean, High Point's knocking down threes. We know in this tournament, I mean, Siena, because of making threes, is why they took Duke to the wire.
Yeah.
Threes that were dropping where you go, holy crap, you feel like you're about to give it up, and they're still in this thing because they hit a couple of key three-pointers. I think Missouri's got to hit at least 8 three-pointers to win this game. The question is, who does it come from? In your opinion, if somebody is knocking down 3 or 4 of them in this game, who's the most likely candidate for Missouri? It's not really an over-under question, but I think it's relevant to where we're sitting with, is it a Trent Pierce game? Is it Jaden Stone, hearkening back to early season volume? Is it Jacob Cruz, who comes off the bench and knocks down 2 in a quick span, and they say, hey, feed him some more, and he ends up being a hero in the month of March for Missouri? Because you're not necessarily looking at a team percent. I mean, we look at the team percentage, but it requires somebody getting hot. Just to your point, even further, the last NCAA tournament win for Mizzou, their only one in 15 years against Utah State. They hit 10 threes. They were 10 of 25, and Demoy Hodge had 5 of them, and Kobe Brown had 3 of them. Who's the Demoy Hodge? We know that Mark Mitchell's the Kobe Brown that's going to knock down 2 threes that you're not expecting, but he's wide open, so he has to take them. Like, that's going to happen. Who else steps up and hits deep shots? That's the question. It probably is most likely to be Trent Pierce based on how he's shooting recently. I think Trent Pierce is my call. Yeah. I'll say, and maybe this is something I can jurisdiction of legality my way into, over 2.5 made threes by Trent Pierce. I think he's going to have that type of game. Yeah. If Missouri's going to win it, it's going to be Trent Pierce knocking him down. Jaden Stone, I just want to believe it, Andy, but I think if he's going to help Mizzou win this game, it's going to happen in other ways. It's not going to necessarily be the shot making. And you mentioned the Spider-Man meme between these two teams. I feel like there's a little bit of the Spider-Man meme between the Mizzou guard-oriented type of players when it comes to this three-point shooting conundrum. Everybody's kind of looking at anybody else like, who's going to be that guy? And they're a little bit gun-shy. Somebody has to confidently step up and attempt 6 or 8 threes in this game and knock half of them down. That's really what it comes down to. And I think Pierce has the moxie to maybe be that guy in this game. Yeah. So I'm hoping that maybe that ends up being the case. Let me ask you on the other side. Carbon copy, Miami is a team that doesn't really knock down a lot of threes either. No. 288th, they only make 6.6 threes per game. I'm looking for the percentage from Miami, but what I do know is as much as Miami is pretty mediocre defending the three, Missouri is a lot worse at defending it themselves. Yeah, same conundrum. Same one. 36.5% were given up. Yep. And over the last 3 games, it's been 44.1%. Yikes. That Missouri has given up. They sorted on this site I'm looking at over your 3 most recent games. And of all the teams in the land, that's like, in the top 15 or so among, you're getting torched by the deep ball recently. Can Missouri defend the 3 in this game, or do you think that Miami won't really attempt to shoot very many of them so it won't become a problem? Because it seems like the teams that have a bad day in this month, as you're watching your team play, it's because the other team keeps making it rain on you. I don't know if Miami is necessarily going to do that in this game, even though Missouri is certainly susceptible. Because you also look for individual players. Do they have someone that's taken at least 90 this year? And how many players have taken that many now that have at least 90 or more 3-point attempts for Miami? Trey Donaldson's taken the most. He's taken 154 and he shoots them at 34%. The next best is going to be Timo Malovich, who's taken 111 threes. He's hitting 1 out of every 3. And then after that, it's True Washington, who's probably their best 3-point shooter by the percentage. And he's taken 96. So it's been a good volume, 36% from 3. No one's really way standing out in this category for Miami. Similarly, same situation for Mizzou. Season long, no one has really wowed anyone. As you mentioned, Cruz was awesome.
through the first non-conference play, maybe first few games in the SEC season, but it's dropped off since big time. This is a spot where will both teams decide, you know what? Let's be different. Let's try to get these guys hot. And you have to turn to individual players to make that happen. And it's those three that you're maybe seeing as one of the most likely. So it comes down to closeouts on those specific guys. Renault has taken 68 threes this year, but I don't know if you close out to the point where you're it may be a same sort of Mark Mitchell situation. Okay, leave him out there, see if he makes it. Mark Mitchell, I think, has been a little bit better, if I'm not mistaken. But I would see it as a very similar spot. And if you gave me an over-under on the exact same number of threes for Miami, because they've taken a lot fewer, I'd maybe even say under. But I wouldn't be shocked by over, especially with how Mizzou has been giving them up.
Yeah. I hope that it's not that type of game. And I don't think it will be, because like you outlined, it's just not really what Miami does. Here's my question. All right, what makes Miami so good? Surely it's going to be those bigs on the inside. I don't really have a great gauge for giving up paint points, but let's frame the over-under this way. Over-under 4.5 times as I'm sitting there in the arena, will I say, too easy? Because they get into the paint, and whoever is supposed to be protecting the rim just kind of gives it a little la-di-da. I don't want to see any easy buckets, and I feel like Miami is a team built to kind of grind you down and get to the inside where they move the ball and they find that weak point in the defense.
Again, sometime you're going to see, I would say over on that, because it's going to happen.
Probably. I'm going to say under, because my son will be with me. I'm going to try to be on my best behavior. Yeah, that's going to be my goal.
Button it up. But that's an aspect of this that as well, if Sean Phillips does pick up that second foul, and he's out there and he has to be careful, to defend the rim the way that he is. Do you be
careful and leave him in there susceptible to picking up that third in the first half? Or when you sub him out, what are you doing, Andy? Put on your Coach Dennis Gates sport coat here. What does Coach Gates wear? Yeah. He's always dressed very nicely.
He is.
What do you do? What do you do with the rotation? Is it Burns and say, he's probably going to give it up on the inside? Is it Nick Randall and say he's been, he stands in there and
man, that'd be tough to trust right there. But
I agree with you.
It is something that I think has to be an option. You've got to be ready to go to that and not be afraid, because if Sean Phillips is still picking up those fouls, you cannot have Trent Burns roll out there, I think, for more than 20 minutes in this game right now. So you need to have Randall spell.
Or you tell Trent Burns, I don't want to see you ever leak out on a shooter. Just, you got to be in there and
stay in there
and be big, play big, and whatever. Because I think he gets tripped up in the zone defense when they are in it, and he just doesn't really know where to be. And his inclination is to play like he's 6'5",
right,
instead of 7'5". You have to, if he's going to be out there to fill the Sean Phillips role, he has got to be glued under that basket, waiting for that second cut that's going to become an easy layup. I don't know if he is at a point in his progression as a player at this level where he can do that in this game. I'll try it. That'll be my first line of defense. But if it looks like it's recently looked outside of a game or two, I got to go to another direction. The question is that Nick Randall, or is it playing quote unquote small, which really isn't small, but it's like Mark Mitchell is going to be your biggest guy on the floor, but he's not your tallest guy on the floor, because that's Trent Pierce, and he can sort of play the power forward spot. Is that an option for you to play quote unquote small and have it be, Mitchell,
sure,
Pierce, Jacob Cruz at the 3, Cruz is not a great defender either. So my concern is if things just get too easy for Miami on the 2-point area, that this thing could get out of hand.
So my thought is that you don't want to have too small of guys out there, have both Mitchell and Phillips off the floor at one point in time.
No, Mitchell can't leave the floor.
You can't. It's
sorry.
Anyway.
That's not going to work for me in this one.
Yeah, look, if you do in fact want to go a little bit smaller and maybe quicker. I don't know. I mean, Miami is a team that plays at a bit of a faster pace than Mizzou does. Not much, though. They're kind of even.
Yeah.
And then Mizzou is one of the slower teams in the country.
Which is crazy to me.
It's true. And honestly, I don't mind it because you do need to exhaust as many options as possible in the half court to have this offense be great, if you ask me. So I'd be careful with it. But if I'm Phillips, I guess I'd say if I'm Gates, I'm not afraid to play him with 2 fouls in the first half because the rebounding is going to be so crucial in this game too. Miami can kill you on the offensive boards. And
they got to have a heart-to-heart all game long about how important of a player he is, because this is a matchup where they are going to need him, and they're going to need him to foul out, but they need him to do it in 40 minutes and not 22.
Yeah.
Like, I'm serious. Like, so he's going to have to play a physical style where he will pick up 4 to 5 fouls, and you live with that. But all of them got to be worth it. It is sort of how I view it with Phillips.
Let's get to our KTGR hotline here. Give us over-unders for Mizzou, Miami. Hello, who's this?
This is Kenneth from Texas.
Kenneth, you're on the Big Show. What you got?
I was wanting to see how y'all see my Longhorns faring tonight against BYU.
Oh, in that 6-11 game, right? I have Texas in my bracket, actually. I have
BYU going uncomfortably far in my bracket, but I wrote that out before the NC State-Texas game, which was a mess, a beautiful mess, and Texas ended up surviving. I think DeBance is too good. I'm going to take BYU in that one. But it's gonna be
sorry,
close.
Kenneth. Sorry, man. I tried to convince Brendan to take the other side. Oh, well. He's ready to just, he was done with you, Brendan. He was like, he's done. Sorry.
Did not like my answer.
Sorry.
I put BYU. I had BYU actually beating Gonzaga.
If it makes him feel better, I filled out my women's bracket today, and I took Texas all the way. They're my champion.
I had them in the Final Four. I don't think I had them winning. I think I took.
Yeah.
Did I take South Carolina? I don't know.
Unfortunately, they'll have to
SEC heavy.
Unfortunately, they'll have to go through Missouri State for that. Missouri State, great win last night, taking down Stephen F. Austin. So not only like the run they made, and again, first year in Conference USA, they were the 6th seed, and they made a run to get the auto bid, beat the 1 seed in the championship, and then they go to Austin. They win against SFA, and now that we get Texas, it'll be tougher. But that was an awesome moment for Missouri State.
Springfield, stand up. You never know.
Absolutely.
You never know.
So we'll see. Hey, take a shot. Bust my bracket. I'd love to see that. Love to see that.
I think we were all cheering for that on the men's side today. Just Sienna, give us a.
Yeah, man.
I mean, the rest of the tournament would have been gravy if we could have had a moment like that.
Oh, man. 875.
You know this, too.
Yeah.
Legalized sports betting. There are some sports books that if you were up by 10,
you
they
win.
said money line. You win.
Yeah, wow.
And so I had some buddies that made like $550 on that.
Man.
Like, why didn't I think of doing that?
Come on.
That would've been smart. Crazy times.
Call or text us 875-KTGR here on the Big Show. So give us over-unders for Mizzou, Miami. In the meantime, we'll break down more postseason hoops, this time on the women's side. Mizzou women's basketball plays in an hour and a half at Seton Hall is when they tip off. We'll get you to coverage at 5:45 here on KTGR. But up next, play-by-play broadcaster Brad Tregnago will join us to break down the matchup here on the Big Show.
The best subscriptions in life are free. Subscribe to KTGR on YouTube to watch The Big Show and other exclusive content. YouTube.com/@KTGR Sports.
If you're craving something delicious, find your way to the Pasta Factory, where everything's made from scratch daily. Their fresh sauces, cakes, quiche, dressings, and soups are sure to tantalize your taste buds. And all pasta entrees are cooked, baked, and tossed to order. Don't leave without sampling those homemade desserts, lovingly crafted by Jason and Rob. Good. The Pasta Factory. Visit them at 3103 West Broadway Business Park, right in front of Walmart. Celebrating 50 years in business. The Pasta Factory, where fresh meets flavor.
The nominations are in. Now it's time to pick the winners. Now through April 12th, you'll decide the winners for Inside Columbia Magazine's Best of Columbia 2026. Vote up to once per day for the businesses and places you love, including Best Coffee, Best Auto Repair, Best Brunch Menu, or Best Dispensary. You can vote once per day, so come back and support the businesses you love most. Best of Columbia 2026 starts with you. Vote now through April 12th for your favorites at InsideColumbia.net.
From the trainers to the coaches, the equipment managers to the players and fans, it takes a whole team to be truly successful. Hi, this is Sophie Cunningham, and if you're looking for the best team of jewelers in Columbia, it's Betts. Their staff has years of experience handcrafting jewelry, and when you combine that with the newest technology, it gives Betts Jewelers the ability to truly wow their customers. So talk to the team at your hometown jeweler today. Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia.
These beautiful moments begin at Betts. Begin at Betts.
Hi, it's Hillian Hart. This December, let's make some Christmas magic together in Europe.
Join us December 6th through the 14th for Colette's European Christmas Markets Tour.
We're heading to Prague, Dresden, Vienna, and Budapest.
Think holiday shopping, amazing food, and that once-in-a-lifetime Christmas feeling everywhere you go.
And since Colette takes care of the flights, hotels, meals, and local experiences,
you can focus on having fun.
Get the full trip details now. Go to 943kat.com.
When it comes to tree care, knowledge matters. And Advanced Tree Solutions doesn't just cut, they care. Educate, communicate, and protect the health of your trees. Whether for homeowners associations, golf courses, apartment complexes, you name it. And it's one less thing to worry about. With expert service and yearly discounts, your business and your trees are in good hands. Call Eric at Advanced Tree Solutions today. Advanced Tree Solutions, your tree's best friend. AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com.
Michael Agnew here with API Project Fitness. I understand that life is hard, and if you're soft, it will squish you. You must find a way to be hard. Armor yourself up mentally and physically and emotionally. Our goal is to help you find your inner strength and hardness. The difference between strength and weakness is choice. With our group fitness classes and personal training and open gym, the choice is yours. Choose strength. Find us at apiprojectfitness.com or call us at 573-268-6944 to make an appointment.
Small businesses are the backbone of any successful community. We know, because we're a small business too. We cherish the people who live and work here, which is why we partner with so many businesses to help them grow. And over the years, we've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for our local children's hospital, our food bank, Central Missouri Honor Flight, and True North. If you want to work with a group of people who believe that giving is always better than getting, contact Zimmer Communications today or learn more at ZimmerCommunications.com.
Your daily fix of local sports lives here. This is The Big Show on KTGR.
Back here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app as we get set for the Madness very soon. And hey, the Madness is going to be starting here tonight for Mizzou women's basketball. First time they've had postseason play in 3 years. The Tigers are in the WBIT. As a 4 seed in their region, they do have to travel to take on Seton Hall for their first game, and that'll be coming up tonight at 6 o'clock here on KTGR. And here to talk with us about it, the voice of Mizzou women's basketball, Brad Tregnago, who is on site now in New Jersey, where it is significantly colder than it is here. And Brad, that's kind of a balancing act that you and the rest of the traveling group has to deal with at the moment.
Yeah, it was. Thanks for having me on, Andy. And that was the biggest stressor for me on this trip is, do I pack the winter coat? It's in the 40s range, and I from what I understand, it's warming up significantly back home. So I decided to go without the winter coat. I'm going to shiver a little bit while I'm out here on the East Coast, and then I'll be a little more climate appropriate by the time I get back to Como.
Well, maybe even the third winter comes a little sooner for you so that it comes in handy when you do touch land back here in Columbia. We shall see. Interesting opportunity for Mizzou women's basketball in their first year under Kelly Harper. Obviously improvement from past years for her first season and getting to a postseason bid. Just the significance, you think, of having that chance now for this particular group to play in games like this in March.
Yeah, well, like you mentioned, Andy, it's been a couple years since Mizzou has had any postseason opportunity at all, right? So just getting those reps, I think, will be valuable here. You've got, your two best players this season, Grace Slaughter and Shannon Dowell, are both juniors. Dowell got some experience in the WNIT. They actually made a pretty deep run in the WNIT last season as Illinois State's best player, but she hasn't played in the WBIT before. Grace Slaughter has not gotten any postseason reps yet, and she's your star. So this is an opportunity for her to get those reps, perhaps. And then the hope is, of course, next year we're talking about being somewhere for the big dance. But yeah, I think there's certainly a value there in trying to extend this season, and and really with any team. You value that time together, and it's the last opportunity, this run to be playing basketball as this exact group. This exact group won't be together again ever. So you got that chance to try to extend that as long as possible too.
And that'll be good to see. It's certainly also a chance for them to end the season maybe on a higher note than it would have if it had just ended with the SEC tournaments. There was some really tough competition the Tigers had to deal with towards the tail end of the regular season with the way that they finished, and then bowing out early in Greenville. So the opportunity, I'm sure, for them, even though they've been off the court for a couple of weeks now, I'm sure that chomping at the bit to maybe have a better outcome than maybe they've experienced here in the past. How do you kind of see them attacking it from that angle as they approach this game tonight?
I think I'm guessing there'll be some relief to not be playing an SEC team anymore. I mean, the 7-game losing streak, yes, to wrap up the regular season and the SEC tournament, but you look at who the teams they played. South Carolina is going to be an NCAA tournament host. LSU is going to be an NCAA tournament host. Oklahoma is going to be an NCAA tournament host. You're talking about top 16 teams in the country, and then you get into the SEC tournament. Alabama is a 6 seed. In the NCAA tournament, they were the 11 seed in the SEC tournament. So it just speaks to the overall depth of the league. And, Mizzou just kind of hit a wall there perhaps in early to mid-February and didn't have some of their best performances down the stretch. But now it's been 15 days between games, so you've got that opportunity to refresh a little bit and hopefully get healthier. That's been an unfortunate theme of this season for Mizzou is so many different players banged up. 3 different players have not played a single minute this season. So yeah, it's an opportunity perhaps to kind of hit a reset button, if you will, and see if you can make a run in this thing.
Brad Tregnago, voice of Mizzou women's basketball here on the Big Show, KTGR, and the KTGR app. Mizzou women's hoops playing in the WBIT tonight at Seton Hall. And you talked about how valuable it could be for who are expected to be next year's stars, even with the fact that they were this year's stars and Grace Slaughter and Shannon Dowell. But with some of the other maybe expected returners, we obviously can't expect everyone back in this age of college athletics. But for who is expected to be still with this program as Kelly Harper continues to build, how do you kind of see some of those players getting that type of opportunity and hopefully building upon their game here as they have another chance at a run?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think you make a good point about these days you just don't know who's going to be back and who's not going to be back. And I don't have any additional insight on that for you either. It's just the era that we're in for better or for worse. There's only, for what we know that Jordana Reisma, the starting post player, Jayla Smith, who's been the top reserve for the most part all season, and Sanaya Tyler, who's been a valuable guard, mainly off the bench this year. Those 3 are out of eligibility. So we know they're not going to be back. Everybody else who's on this roster could theoretically return. So yeah, it's some valuable reps for Slaughter and Dowell. Abby Schreck has been here. This is her 3rd year. Chloe Sotel has worked her way for the most part into the starting lineup for the majority of the season. Some youngsters like, Mo Vincent, Rika Toman, could get some extra opportunities here. And Lisa Thompson actually is a Rutgers transfer, so she has some New Jersey experience. She's the only player who has played in this gym where Seton Hall women's basketball plays, so she's got some valuable insight there, perhaps. So yeah, again, who knows who's going to be back, but for the people that are going to be back, I think this certainly doesn't hurt to get some extra time on the floor. How
have you seen Seton Hall shape up this year and what they will probably be seeing as a similar opportunity to try and continue their season, and what Mizzou would have to be worried about for what they bring to the table.
Well, to put it bluntly, they were the third best team in a 2-team league, is the way that I look at it. The Big East was down this year. So Seton Hall, 19-12 overall, 12-8 in their league. But UConn, obviously they're miles ahead of almost everybody in women's college basketball at this point. And then Villanova was very solid, also an NCAA tournament team. And then, especially when you get to the bottom half of the Big East, I mean, it's a lot of teams that are in that 150 to 200 net rankings range, and there are no teams like that in the SEC. So it's a little tricky to evaluate, where they're at. There are a couple of common opponents. Both of these teams beat Washington State. Seton Hall beat Auburn. Mizzou lost to Auburn. Now, I do say that with a caveat. First, Auburn had to play at Seton Hall. Also, Seton Hall had a key piece available in that game, one of their talented guards, Jada Eads, who has since torn her ACL and is not going to be available for this game. Seton Hall's had some injury issues throughout this season, too, particularly in their backcourt. So we know Eads is not going to play. They have another guard, Jakayla Kraft, a sophomore, who's done some solid stuff for them, but she hasn't played since mid-February due to injury. Not sure of her status coming into this game. So also some injury issues on the Seton Hall side. One thing they have done well this season is force a lot of turnovers. They force 17.5 turnovers per game. That at times has been a challenge for Mizzou this season. So I think that's going to be a big thing to keep an eye on, because they don't have an overwhelming level of size. Their rebounding margin is just okay in terms of the positive, and again, against weaker competition than what Mizzou is playing. But they do have some folks that can turn you over. They have a really talented junior guard in Savannah Catalan, who's forcing nearly 3 steals per game and is really good at getting to the free throw line offensively, where she shoots 90%. So there's certainly some potential here. It's going to be certainly a challenge, no doubt. But it's a tricky one to evaluate, Andy, again, because especially since the new year, these two teams have been playing very different schedules.
For sure. Brad Tregnago, Mizzou women's basketball broadcaster. You'll hear him tonight in the WBIT coverage for Mizzou as they take on Seton Hall on the road. And just to give a picture of what Mizzou might have in front of them, obviously they're taking it one game at a time. But how do you view the path for Mizzou if, in fact, they win this game and they maybe have more chances to advance here in March?
Well, so WBIT is a relatively new tournament. This is just the third year of it. It's a 32-team bracket. It's administered by the NCAA. And so basically these are the top, from the NCAA's perspective, roughly the top 32 teams that did not make the NCAA tournament. So this is slotted in, ahead of the WNIT, which does still exist, but below, of course, the NCAA tournament. Mizzou has a protected seed. They were not able to host because of the state basketball championships that are happening at Mizzou Arena. That's why we're here in New Jersey for this game. The next game would probably be against what I assume is the number 1 overall seed in the entire tournament, BYU. They were the NCAA tournament committee's first team out of that field. So there's the possibility of a trip. I'm not 100% sure on the hosting procedures, if I'm being honest, but a decent chance that if Mizzou were to win this game, Mizzou would be heading to Provo for that contest, and that would be a real challenge for sure. But if you can win that game, then the bracket really opens up to potentially go the entire way. I will say a couple schools to the west, Kansas and Kansas State, are also in this field. They're also on the same half of Mizzou's bracket in the WBIT. And then on the other side, you've got Wisconsin and former Mizzou women's coach Robin Pinchton. So they're going to be at Oregon State, I believe, tonight. So who knows? There could be some interesting matchups here if Mizzou is able to advance a little bit in this thing.
Well, it's always good to be playing games like this in March, even if it's in competitions just underneath the NCAA tournament, but a good chance for Mizzou women's basketball to extend their season some more as they go and visit Seton Hall. You'll hear Brad tonight here on the call on KTGR as the Tigers take on Seton Hall with tip-off at 6 o'clock. We'll start coverage at 5:45. And Brad, thanks for taking time today. Be sure to rest up the rest of your March voice because that probably takes an extra level around this time of year.
Well, I hope that I have to dig into that extra level. It's like you mentioned, it's been a couple of years since we've had an opportunity for some extra postseason games on the women's side, and certainly looking forward to it. Thanks for your time.
You bet. It is 4:46 on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. So, yeah, it could be an interesting tournament, especially if Mizzou wins like today and then somehow is able to get BYU. Then it does, in fact, open up as the 4 seed for them. So it just takes one. We'll see how they do tonight. Tough if they couldn't host, though. That's just an unfortunate situation there.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, like in the men's NIT. I know Dayton was involved, and it's like, yeah, they're kind of using our gym. Like that's for the other the non-NCAA tournaments where you do get to play them on home sites. Sometimes you schedule things out and it doesn't work out, which is unfortunate.
Well, either way, Mizzou women's hoops will go for a win at Seton Hall, and we'll see if the more battle-tested team that seems to be Mizzou will take advantage of that and get a win tonight in the WBIT. In the meantime, onto the bus coming up next. Are you sure, Major League Baseball, that you want to get in bed with this type of company? That's next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Again, Mizzou women's basketball in the WBIT tonight. They are at Seton Hall. Tigers 16-16 overall. Seton Hall is 19-12 this year. Chance for Mizzou and head coach Kelly Harper to extend the season into what would likely be a matchup with BYU coming up later this weekend or maybe the start of next week. Again, tip-off at 6 o'clock. Pre-game is at 5:45 right here on KTGR. Mizzou men's basketball will take on Miami in the 7-10 matchup in the West region of the NCAA tournament tomorrow in St. Louis. 9:10 p.m. tip-off slated for tomorrow for Mizzou men's basketball. Mizzou baseball lost 10-0 to Kansas yesterday. That's now 4 straight losses for Mizzou baseball. They're 15-6 overall. They will take on Tennessee on the road for the next SEC series starting tomorrow at 5:30. Mizzou softball got 2 wins against Illinois yesterday to build a 7-game winning streak. They'll host an SEC series starting tomorrow against Alabama at 5 o'clock. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast with I-70 Towing, the Mid-Missouri's go-to crew. When your world seems to have been wrecked, call the team you hope you never have to meet. I-70 Towing. Blows down to 48 tonight, then mostly sunny tomorrow, high of 86.
On Simmons Field, swinging a ground ball, hit past third and the left. That's a base hit. And across the SEC, fastball, swing and a miss. He struck him out. The Tigers are ready to roar. There it goes, long drive, deep right field. That is gone. This is your radio home for Mizzou baseball. The Tigers win this one in a walk-off here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Mid-Missouri's total sports station, KTGR.
In sports, there are bad calls, like wolfing down walking tacos before 9 a.m. warm-ups, discussing NIL deals with your 8U travel team, or trusting the mom who spells lose with 2 O's to order team jerseys. Yay, go Tigres. Here's a good call. Shopping at Play It Again Sports for baseball and softball season. Play It Again Sports. Think of them first, so you don't finish last. Play It Again Sports, ColumbiaMo.com. Extra savings, not extra letters.
Whoops. My name is Matt. We used True Sun Exteriors for a pretty big siding project for our house. We used LP Smart Side. We did all new Pella windows, new fascia, new soffits, and they did a house wrap for us. True Sun was great. They communicated well. Whenever they got very large amounts of, say, the front and the side done, it was just awesome just to kind of see just the difference and what the house looked like. True Sun wasn't the cheapest. They weren't the most expensive. We did consider multiple options, but I think at the end of the day, I'd work with True Sun. It's good to see someone's proposal being so detailed and line itemed. You know, we're protecting our investment, and we love True Sun. We love Nevada and their whole team, and I'm confident that if we ever have any issues, they'll be there as soon as they can.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com.
Before the sun comes up and long after it sets, ABC 17 News and Storm Track Weather keep working for you, gathering the information your family needs to take on the day, alerting you to breaking news and health and safety concerns in our area, plus tracking the latest weather conditions to help you plan ahead. It's everything you need to know from the team you trust most. ABC 17 News and Storm Track Weather, where the news comes first.
Brian Ware Plumbing and Restoration has answered a lot of your calls over the years, and you've helped him grow his business immensely. So he wanted to take a second to say thank you. Oof, that was pretty emotional. We couldn't have said it better ourselves. So keep calling Brian to unplug your plumbing problems. BrianWarePlumbing.com.
Just like you, 1851 Underground Tap and Grill is excited about watching Mizzou hoop it up in March this year. So put on your black and gold, grab your brackets, and meet your friends at 1851 Underground. With daily drink specials and half-off select appetizers for happy hour, it's a perfect place to take in the tournament. They've also got great Saturday specials on Bloody Marys and mimosas. It's no secret, but it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton. 1851underground.com.
This is Phil Fortaleza here with Mizzou basketball's Anthony Robinson II and his mama Nisha, getting ready for the latest Sticklin' and Sticklin' injury law commercial.
Aunt, you got your line?
I got it, Mom.
Go ahead.
When sorry just doesn't cut it.
Call Sticklin' and Sticklin'.
Mom, that's my line.
At Sticklin' and Sticklin', all they do is personal injury.
Sticklin' and Sticklin'.
It's a slam dunk.
The best local sports talk around on your ride home. You've got The Big Show on KTGR.
Seems like a little switcheroo from Rob Manfred. Apparently, Major League Baseball today announced a partnership with one of those predictions markets. Not a betting sports book or anything like that.
So goofy. It's the same thing, though.
It's the same thing, but unregulated.
Legal protections, which means it's just totally whatever. You do whatever you want. And insider trading is almost promoted on some of these, it seems. I don't know enough about it, Andy, at this point, but it is a brave new world we're living in. I don't think MLB is the only major entity that's kind of taken these type of partnerships, but there's a lot that you could see on the horizon being a little concerned about when it comes to this stuff. So it's a little bit, yeah.
What makes it more questionable is that Rob Manfred in August said to players, essentially, don't do business with these companies.
Specifically prediction markets?
Yeah, prediction markets.
Robbie.
Come on, man.
And did you talk about this yesterday of him putting the silver medals on all the USA guys?
Because, I did not, no.
That was... a number of them took them off right away.
Yeah.
Obviously, they were disappointed to have lost, but I was just thinking about the aspect of, he represents the owners that are about to try to lock them out of a season versus the players that want their union to be represented. I just thought that was awkward. It would have been a little bit interesting even if he was giving them gold medals, Andy, but it was I think some of those players were probably going, I don't know if I'm really enjoying this moment very much.
No, I'm sure they did not. But hey, maybe play better and play as if you want to be there. It's my take.
I'll weigh in on that a little bit, maybe. Yeah.
Also under the bus, the NFL. Multiple reports, Mike Florio and Kevin Seifert saying that there's an email being sent out that they're letting folks know within the league. We're laying groundwork for replacement refs if we need to go down that route. The NFL and the referees union are at a stalemate right now as far as their next CBA. So if they don't get that done, we could see a little bit of what we saw at the start of the 2012 season, that infamous Hail Mary call. Yeah. Packers Seahawks. Yeah. Packers fans, just be on alert for that if you're listening.
Yeah.
In the replacement
love a good
press.
touchbackception.
Yeah. That's
Awesome.
just, I mean, if we get to that, then, the NFL will be asking for it, obviously. Just get these deals done. But, yeah, I would like to not have to go back to that world. High points. That was the high point of the tournament so far, if you ask me. But it's been a very good start to this tournament. High points. I would really like Siena to get the job done, but that made the 16-1 game fun. Miami, Ohio, just blistering the Nets last night was fun.
Are they going
to
to keep
see.
going?
I mean,
they
might
might
be.
keep going.
I think Tennessee's
look out.
Tennessee, if they they just grind you to muck defensively.
That game will come down to the final possession on whether Tennessee covers.
Okay,
like I feel like they're going to be up about 8 or 9, and the spread's about 10 or 11. I mean, Miami of Ohio made 16 threes last night. Tennessee does not allow you to make threes at a very high clip, so
no,
that's going to be a challenge, I think, for Miami. But yeah, I'm so glad we got a quick 12/5. I almost feel like they put. Again, I'm bagging on Wisconsin, and I don't even know if historically it's true. I almost feel like they put Wisconsin in that early window to be like, let's get everybody one real quick that everybody can be excited about. Because it seems like every
one
year,
upset to make people think, oh yeah, there's going to be upsets this year. Let's get ready.
Yeah.
And then, of course,
this window's like Arkansas, boom,
Yeah.
Sparty, boom. My bracket, by the way,
NDSU.
my bracket, which is hand drawn, and I can hold it up for you here.
Done. Yeah. Good.
Hand-drawn bracket. My bracket is 7-1 after Arkansas and Michigan State
Okay.
finish up. I already circled them. They're good. They'll be
Yeah,
fine. High Point. That was a good call. Ohio State. Thanks for nothing.
Of course. So we'll get some more tourney talk in, but we're going to talk some college football coming up next. Eli Drinkwitz gave a reason to today.
We go drink.
Naming the starting quarterback, leaving no doubt as to who it might be. We'll talk about that at 5:05 here on The Big Show.
The dawn chorus of birdsong, the calm trickling of streams, wind rustling through new leaves, bees busily buzzing, friends and family laughing and enjoying the outdoors again. You used to be able to hear all of the sounds of spring, but your hearing has faded, and spring plays more like a silent film now. So it will be all the more wonderful when you experience spring again, like your first movie in Dolby Digital.
Hearing Aid Consultants at Allmaker Repair Lab in Jefferson City. We are here for you today so you can hear tomorrow.
What happens when a chef, 2 pharmacists, and a financial analyst walk into a bar? They buy it. And then they tell people from all walks of life to come enjoy it with them. Big flavors, bigger burgers, local brews, handcrafted drinks, and a game of pool or two. See, Billiards was built by people like you. A teacher, a receptionist, and a cashier walk into Billiards. What happens next is up to you.
Looking on down for burgers and beer. Billiards on Broadway.
Call your shot at billiardsonbroadway.com.
My name is Taylor, and I have had insurance with Phyllis Nichols and her team for over 9 years. A auto claim came when my wife was rear-ended. Everyone was safe, but that left a lot of cosmetic damage on her brand new car. We called Phyllis, said, hey, this is what happened, and she's made it a very streamlined process. Phyllis lined out our rental car and made everything just so easy. And having 3 kids and losing a vehicle is a big deal, but Phyllis went to bat for us, got everything lined out, and made it a very easy process.
From the trainers to the coaches, the equipment managers to the players and fans, it takes a whole team to be truly successful. Hi, this is Sophie Cunningham, and if you're looking for the best team of jewelers in Columbia, it's Betts. Their staff has years of experience handcrafting jewelry, and when you combine that with the newest technology, it gives Betts Jewelers the ability to truly wow their customers. So talk to the team at your hometown jeweler today. Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia.
These beautiful moments begin at Betts. Begin at Betts.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station. KTGR.
I'm Christine Lisi. Duke's breathing a sigh of relief after a massive scare in the first round of the men's NCAA tournament.
trailed from about 3 minutes into the first half until about 5 minutes left in regulation. That was before getting on track and beating Siena 71-65. Cam Boozer, 22 points, 13 rebounds. Brother Caden, 19, 5 assists, 2 rebounds, and 2 steals. Duke's got TCU next. Horned Frogs got the go-ahead layup from Xavier Edmonds, less than 5 seconds left. Edged Ohio State 66-64. We have our first Cinderella entry on this day one. High Point, first double-digit seed to the 12 seed in the West, has just knocked out the 5 seed Wisconsin 83-82. Nebraska picked up its first ever NCAA tournament win, defeated Troy 74-67. Louisville 83, South Florida 79, Vandy 78, McNeese State 68. Just under 11 minutes to go in the second half. Michigan State still up big on North Dakota State 69-48. Arkansas leading Hawaii 73-55, 11 and a half minutes left in regulation. With the NBA playoffs looming, star Cade Cunningham with a collapsed lung out an extended period of time for Detroit.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business's needs. From quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options, Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Push. Back to the wall. And it's Goddard. And Arrowhead. Touchdown! Kansas City! To your speakers. This is the big show, baby. Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is the Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
Of course, give us your tourney takes early on. We're still waiting for Mizzou's game. We're going to be waiting at least another 20-ish hours, 28 hours at least, I think. I can do math, I promise. Here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. But we're going to talk Mizzou football because Eli Drinkwitz went ahead and decided today, you know what, let's name our starting quarterback. And it is the person you expect, but maybe notable that they say outright, yeah, now we're going to say that this guy is going to be our starter day one. So we'll discuss that and some Mizzou football as they wrapped up spring practice. We'll also talk about the Cardinals solidifying their rotation. Brendan will get his chance to get his takes in from yesterday's news. They named the opening day starter. They also kind of make clear who the 5 are going to be. So we'll talk more about that coming up at 5:25 before we get you to Mizzou women's basketball coverage at 5:45 here on KTGR. But let's get to this first because it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
The two biggest things that concern me the most when it comes to Mizzou's matchup against Miami Hurricanes tomorrow night, the last game of the round of 64. Well, number 1, the turnover factor. Miami turns teams over, 76th in the nation in forcing turnovers. And we know that Teal Barrett's been a little reckless with the ball. We've seen it from guys like Mark Mitchell and Sean Phillips as well. So taking care of the basketball, I think, is number 1. Number 2, Sean Phillips has to stay out of foul trouble because Miami has basically a Mark Mitchell clone in Renault and Uday, who is a big tree in the middle, and he's like a California redwood. He's got some size to him and some weight to him, and I just feel like Trent Burns is not going to be able to match up particularly well, so Phillips being on the floor for as many minutes as he can play is going to be key. Please, Sean, avoid the technicals, avoid the flagrants.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
I'm going to go ahead and give a round of applause to Eli Drinkwitz because I think he's doing this the right way. Austin Simmons, QB1. It's official. Mizzou football has already named Simmons, the Ole Miss transfer, as their starting quarterback for the upcoming season. I think that's the right way to do it. I think we knew getting a player of that caliber in the portal, a guy that was starting over Trinidad Chambliss at Ole Miss at the beginning of last season, didn't end up that way, but he earned the job in camp. I think that was obvious. He was going to be the guy. And no, it's not a referendum on Matt Zollers. Like, Zollers can still be the future of the program at the quarterback position, just not yet. I think Simmons is the guy for this year. I'm glad we don't have to go through the summer pretending otherwise.
Number 3.
There's Jordan for 3, yes!
Weighing in on Team USA losing to Venezuela since I was absent from the show yesterday. Yeah, Team USA as an entity doesn't want it enough. It's not necessarily any one person's fault, but their pitchers are merely dipping their toes in the water in terms of participation. And it feels like the biggest stars of the game are just going through the motions sometimes. Not a great showing by Aaron Judge. I don't know how to describe it aptly, but the emotion shown by Team Venezuela shows that in this tournament, wanting it badly enough is a big portion of the battle.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
This was also touched on yesterday's show. Matthew Liberatore, opening day starter for the Cardinals. We knew that was coming. And Richard Dickey Fitz going to Memphis likely means that, barring the unforeseen, Andre Palante gets the last rotation spot. Look, he's had better numbers in spring, so I think it's the right move. By the way, Quinn Matthews had 4 good innings today for the Cardinals down in Grapefruit League. We'll see him this year as well.
Number 5.
What the 5 fingers? Say to the face. Slap.
I wasn't just imagining this, Andy. My gut read was spot on. Wisconsin has been a 5 seed 3 of the last 7 tournaments, and they've lost 3 times out of 3 as a 5.
That's the Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
It's pretty remarkable. 875 KTGR if you want to weigh in.
It's ridiculous. It seems like every year. That was my comment. Like every year, Wisconsin's losing as a 5 to a 12. It's not every year, but there have been 7 NCAA tournaments. They've been a 5 in 3 of the 7, so about half the time, and they've lost all 3 times as a 5. Oregon should not have been a 12 probably that year that they were a 12, and they made a run in that tournament, if memory serves. They lost to James Madison a few years ago as a 5. James Madison was the 12, and then High Point today. Something about teams in purple as 12 seeds. Like Wisconsin's got to be. I mean, they got to be sweating bullets seeing that come up on the screen if that happens again.
Who did High Point play last year? They were almost a 12 the exact same year, or a 13. One of the two. I'm trying to remember who they played in that one, and that's one that they didn't win. I'm trying to go back and see High Point. Let's see. Last year, High Point was a 13 seed. They lost to Purdue. Yeah, a lot of people were picking them to beat Purdue.
Me.
You know,
probably me. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that, but Purdue won that game by 12 points.
12 points.
So I mean, they
were
a
high point total.
Yeah. Well, not really, but
no. 70,
maybe for High Point it was.
It was not that. Not
maybe
that
for
high.
High Point it was a high point.
Oh, that's gonna be. You know what? That's gonna be tomorrow. We're gonna be going. Let's go, Queens.
Shoot. Might be.
Okay. And I'm trying to recall. Did we know when the Princeton thing happened? Had Mizzou played yet, or was
Mizzou was the game before. I think Mizzou was one of the first games of the day. They tipped off like 3rd or 4th to start out the tournament. I want to say. I think that was a Thursday as well.
We were doing our show as Arizona was losing to Princeton.
Right.
We already knew that was going to be a round of 32 game that Missouri was involved in. This time it'll be the other way around. I think that Queens will have energy in that arena because of all the Mizzou fans that have those Session 2 tickets.
Yeah.
That are obviously going to be rooting for the underdog because that's what you do in this month if your team's not involved. And you would get an opportunity to play them. Here's a quick scouting report, though, on Queens.
Okay.
This one could be ugly.
Go ahead.
They are 319th in adjusted defensive efficiency. And
where does Purdue rank in offensive? They are number 1. Number
Purdue
1
is the best offensive efficiency in the country.
It is projected on
Take
KenPom.
Purdue spread. I'm telling you, take it on the spread.
The projection on KenPom is 93-72 Purdue.
It's a 19-point projection. I'll bet the spread's more than that, because the inclination is going to be. Take the 1 seeds to go, Hamburglar. Yeah. But I just thought that was crazy. Queens has the worst adjusted defensive rating in the field. And obviously Purdue has the best offensive rating in the country. So maybe they'll fall down. I don't know. What are you going to do?
I do not know. Do not know. But hey, Queens, again, happy to be there, right?
Yeah. By the way, your Final Four? What was your Final Four?
My Final Four.
I wasn't here as we were solidifying bracket talk yesterday.
Yeah, and kudos to everybody. We got some really good responses on our KTGR app. People sending in the handwritten brackets. We're gonna keep doing that.
And I'm in the group on ESPN as well. So I think people can probably still join that. I don't know if that locks as
I'm not
first
sure.
game. Yeah, because your bracket can't be edited now.
Right.
So if we unlock the group, maybe they could still join it. But I threw my bracket in there, wrote it down first, and then had to transfer it.
Yeah.
That's tedious. I felt like it was like very, very, very pre-IT era.
Where you
very
write out the
of me.
bracket
writing
first,
it out, and then I'm like
and then you
typing
enter it in.
I know.
Yeah.
Very no AI involved in this.
Nope,
I'll tell you that much.
No, that's for sure.
But who's your Final Four? Because I came up with mine. I finally filled out the dang bracket. Drew it. It's a thing of beauty.
Yeah.
I was like, you should have seen me with I didn't have a protractor, but I had everything but.
Yeah, that's
and,
pretty
feel
good.
pretty good.
Yeah, the
Feel
straight
pretty good
lines
about
there.
that.
Very well done.
Yeah.
I have UConn.
Ooh, okay.
I changed my mind on that. I wrote UConn I wrote Duke on my written bracket, and then when I went to put it in online, I'm like, no, I think UConn's going to do it.
I did that once on my written bracket,
Okay,
and I said, actually, South Florida stands no chance against Louisville. And they came back and only lost by 4, but I switched it to Louisville.
Sure.
That was the only, like, actual gnarly scratch out. Like, did you see Colin Coward filled it out and actually had Michigan State losing in the Sweet 16, but making the Final Four? Like, the picture of the bracket that he posted had Michigan State losing in the Sweet 16 and then somehow reappearing later in the bracket.
Poof! Here we are.
When you write these things out, I saw one today. It's one of the Mizzou student reporters. My guy Quentin. He wrote in VC. Quentin wrote in VC, and then he scratched out the U, and he's like, I didn't even write the U, and wrote Illinois for his round of 32. I'm like, that's exactly what we all do. We're looking at it, and we're like, oh, once you write it in pen, it's in there. Okay, so you switched it out. It's going to be UConn then.
It's going to be UConn from that region.
Duke over Sparty was my Elite Eight. I went Michigan State.
Yeah, I have Houston, of course, in the Final Four.
I got cheeky.
What'd you do?
ILL.
Oh, well, that's not cheeky.
There's a Final Four. I think Houston's really good, but I wrote Houston to beat St. Mary's. My hope is that the A&M St. Mary's winner, maybe it's an all-Texas affair and the Aggies can come out. I got to root against Houston because I think a lot of people are going to take them further. Whereas Illinois, I like VCU over North Carolina, so that maybe makes their second round easier.
Very many Houston bracket, or at least going all the way. I don't know how long they take them in the Final Four. I think in our group, our Big Show bracket group, I'm the only Houston. I think. I haven't checked recently.
That's huge leverage with the way that the scoring works, because you get 320 points if you get to the very end with your team. That's my one regret is, like, every year there's a game you're sweating. You're like, I think these two teams are going to be here. I'm sweating the upset in this game. For me, it's Illinois-Houston. Like last year when Gonzaga was an 8 and it had to beat the 1 seed. Was it Arizona? I can't remember who it was, but they almost pulled it off. And I'm like, I'm picking Gonzaga, so this is going to change the fate of my bracket. That game for me this year will be Illinois-Houston, sweating that out. I took Illinois to beat Florida as well. I'm hoping Vandy can just do it again against Florida to make it an easier path.
Nice,
Illinois is my only non-1 seed in the Final Four.
There we go.
I took all the other ones.
Interesting. My only one is Arizona. I took Arizona to go to the
I got Arizona over BYU.
I have
over Iowa State.
Yeah.
So pretty chalky there on that one.
And then, I have Iowa State making it
nice.
over
I wish I could do that.
Michigan.
Okay.
So, that's my other one.
Up.
I've already gotten one thing wrong, one double-digit Sweet 16 team. I picked South Florida to make the Sweet 16. They already lost today. But I had North Dakota State beating Michigan State today, and they're not going to do that. They're down 20
so you had double upset there. That's
that's why it happened.
I was worried about a very chalky year, and so my only double-digit seeds I picked, VCU, Santa Clara, which is a game I'm going to be looking forward to tomorrow. I did take UNI over St. John's, but that's just like Missouri Valley homer. And I did take High Point, so I'm 1 for 1 on the long shots, but Ohio State burned me. I never get 8-9s correct. I mean, I am horrible at those.
Yeah, and they can get you sometimes. That can be the difference every so often if you're there towards the end.
But Michigan over Duke, that was my final, and I was rooting against my runner-up today. I wanted Siena to do it and just torch my bracket. Didn't work out. Michigan,
I have Houston over Arizona, of course, for that.
Iowa State, it was a Twitter stat that I saw where the top 10 teams in KenPom, in however many years it's been, if their offensive efficiency is outside the top 15, they're 0-10 and reach in the Final Four. I don't know what that means, but Iowa State, really, really good team. I love their defense, but they're 21st in adjusted efficiency on offense. And so that is why I took Michigan over Iowa State. I was really talking up the Cyclones. Isn't it funny, too, all that talk, Andy, about who would win March Madness if it was based on the power of the mascots, and Mizzou plays the Hurricanes in round 1.
Shoot.
After all that, I mean, that's a tough break.
Already?
It's a tough break.
Man, that is not an even matchup like it is on the stat sheet. Tiger
what
versus
the Tigers
Hurricane,
are supposed to do in a Hurricane.
I really don't know either. Yeah, that's a tough one. So hunker down. We'll see what happens between the Tigers and Hurricanes tomorrow. 875 KTGR. Give us a call or
Tied for
text.
first in the Big Show bracket, by the way.
Oh, are you really?
Still tied for first.
There we go. All right. Eli Drinkwitz made it official today, and I just think it's not only just a good job, but I also think just good news. Because, look, here's the thing. We all assumed eventually it was going to be Austin Simmons. They tweeted it out today. This is, I think this was technically the end of spring football practice. This was their last practice before they all head out to spring break. They're going to have pro day tomorrow. This also is, to me at least, and look, we didn't watch a lot of spring practice, but to me, it's a very promising indication of what maybe took place. Look, we all assumed it was going to be Austin Simmons, Brendan, and I think that was a fair assumption. But when you bring that guy in, you obviously don't name him the starter. You have a plan to do so at some point, but you do need to make sure that that player shows you that he's worthy of it.
Looks like it's supposed to look.
You have to see him prove that you just took the player that you were being sold on in the portal and being sold on from whoever he worked with at Ole Miss and whoever has worked with him in the past and how he's actually going to look. You need to actually see that in some sort of setting. And this was your first chance at really doing that. And this indication that they're like, yeah, he's the guy.
That's the guy.
That tells me that he showed them what he showed Ole Miss that led them to believe that he should have been the starter there too. And if that's the case, that's good news for Mizzou, because if you juxtapose it to last year, well, you could argue that they didn't see that from either guy, either Prabula or Horn at this stage. Now, again, neither of those guys had ever started a game before, so you're going to give them the fall camp period anyway. But the fact that they let it play out was that nobody wrestled away the job. I think the fact that Austin Simmons, who was given a leg up in the job anyway, but then kind of proved like, yeah, there's a reason why I have a leg up. And he showed that, I'm sure. And again, we didn't see much of it, but you probably don't say today that he's the starter if he didn't show during camp, during spring football, that he was worthy of it.
I think that's completely spot on. And yeah, it's really good news that they targeted this kid. They feel already as they're coming into the summertime that, this is going to be the guy when we go to battle this fall. And so why, feign a quarterback competition where at this point it has been settled in terms of, expectations being met. And I think that's what you were hoping for the whole time out of this transfer portal class, getting a quarterback that you felt really good about, being able to put your best foot forward and win as many games as you can this year. I know a lot of people kind of get hung up on the Matt Zollers of it all, but I feel like that is going to and continues to progress as it is supposed to. We have to remind ourselves that he was not supposed to see the field this past year, and the fact that he did for multiple games only comes as a result of multiple devastating injuries to those ahead of him on the depth chart, and it doesn't serve to negate what Eli Drinkwitz thought of him, what the program has thought of him ever since, targeting him as a high school player and bringing him in. He was not supposed to be on this timeline anyway. And this is the SEC. This is not a developmental league by any stretch of the imagination. And so you have to make sure that you are putting your best foot forward on being able to win games this year, every year. And I think that's what solidifying Austin Simmons does. And you've got a guy that hopefully will retain a red shirt and be coming into 2027 as a redshirt sophomore, right? That's perfectly fine. And I don't think people I can't imagine that Matt Zollers is feeling a certain sort of way about it. He's got to get the game. And look, Simmons does have another year of eligibility after this one. Is that correct?
I think that's right.
I don't think this is his last year. So, but a college football season happens and you get to that when you get to it. Maybe the same thing happens and he gets Wally pipped again by Zollers, who makes big strides over the summer because he wants it And if there's an injury where Zollers has to come into a game, who's to say that the same thing couldn't happen that happened at Ole Miss? None of us are going to be rooting for that. But just in terms of for people who would look at this decision and say, oh my gosh, you're going to alienate Matt Zollers. Well, for one, there's no spring portal window anymore. So he can't enter the portal even if he wanted to.
Right.
Secondly, he doesn't want to. I think this is all part of the plan, and I think Eli Drinkwitz has done a really nice job kind of lining up a quarterback room that can give Mizzou a really good chance this year.
And look, it kind of makes me feel, and it's not even to say that any of the other quarterbacks did poorly, because that I don't think there would be any indication that was even the case either. No. And that includes Zollers. I'm sure that this staff still really likes Zollers and wants to keep him around.
We've never heard different. We've never heard different from Eli Drinkwitz.
So
he says his name on Tiger Talk when talking about these are guys that are going to stay. We're going to get the NIL done with these guys. We're keeping these guys. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about Matt and Donovan. We're keeping these guys. There's a factor to that is valued by Drink when it comes to Matt Zollers still.
And look, if Austin Simmons lights it up, which is possible. I don't know if we predict it to be a huge Chambliss-esque type of rise, but I also won't rule it out. The fact that they released this news today kind of indicates that hey, we maybe think this guy is capable of that. And look, if that's the case, then look out for this Mizzou offense. I still think that look, there's a bit of concern now because we learned yesterday that Josh Atkins picked up an injury, and now they got a question at right tackle. Who's going to be there? So that's now very important as to who is protecting Austin Simmons' blind side, the lefty quarterback. So if you have worries about that and that affects Austin Simmons, I can understand those worries. But once they get somebody in there that can be ready at least for conference play, then you could really start to see this offense take off, because I think early on you're going to be on the backs of Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts. And this offense is going to have to carry the load early on, if you ask me, to maybe allow the defense and the new starters that are going to be on that side to acclimate to what they need to be playing at status-wise for when conference play rolls around. So the fact that Austin Simmons is given the keys right now and knows going in, I'm the starter, here's what I need to do, and here's how it looks under Chip Lindsey's offense, this will be, I think this is a promising sign that we saw today.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I do think the offense is going to be really, really strong, because we know the running game is going to be, you will not find a more potent running back tandem in the country. I'm not talking about just the conference.
Yeah, they're the best. They have the best one.
They're the best. I mean, Ahmad Hardy is going to be on all of these preseason watch lists for, Doak Walker. And this is just a fact. Jamal Roberts, I think, is an NFL caliber running back that is serving as an RB2 on this team. So they'll figure out, Chip Lindsey will figure out how to use both of those guys. You get a passing game here that, look, Austin Simmons is just going to have to take care of the football. Yes, protect him. I do have concerns about O-line, just because I do every year until we see how it coalesces. But I also think he's going to have weapons as well on the outside to be able to throw the football to. So I do think it's going to be a year where the offense is going to outpace the defense. But I'll be also eager to see the way that they reloaded on defense, and if that can be still a top 30, top 25 type of unit. And if that's the case, you got a stew brewing at that point.
So I think this should make Mizzou fans excited that the coaching staff just went ahead and said, we've seen enough from Austin Simmons, and it just took spring football for us to be convinced that he's going to be the guy going into 2026. Not shocking news, but good news to hear from Mizzou football as they wrap up spring practice today. 875-KTGR if you want to weigh in on it here on The Big Show as we talk some Cardinals next. How does Brendan see the Cardinals rotation shaping up now that it is solidified? We are 1 week away from the Cardinals home opener. So we'll talk more baseball coming up next before Mizzou women's basketball coverage begins at 5:45. Stay with us on The Big Show.
Breaking down the Tigers, Cardinals, Chiefs, and more like no one else. The Big Show continues next on KTGR.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Advanced Tree Solutions. Now is the time, the springtime, to think about tree pruning, to think about the structural strength of your trees. This is the time to think about it because once the summer rolls along and you try to do that work, it can be damaging to the trees. So now, if you get tree pruning done, they can grow back stronger as the months roll along. And there is one place and one guy that I trust with all of my tree needs, and that's Eric and his team over at Advanced Tree Solutions. They serve Columbia, Jefferson City, and Fulton. If you call him up, he'll be there on time. He'll take care of your trees. He'll assess what needs to be done, give you a fair and honest price, and the work is going to be top-notch. It'll take care of all of your worries about how your trees are doing. Let Eric and his team care for your trees at Advanced Tree Solutions. Go and check out their full range of services, advancedtreesolutionsllc.com. Definitely during this time of year, make sure to get tree pruning done before the summertime. Go to advancedtreesolutionsllc.com.
Michael Agnew here with API Project Fitness. I understand that life is hard, and if you're soft, it will squish you. You must find a way to be hard. Armor yourself up mentally and physically and emotionally. Our goal is to help you find your inner strength and hardness. The difference between strength and weakness is choice. With our group fitness classes and personal training and open gym, the choice is yours. Choose strength. Find us at apiprojectfitness.com or call us at 573-268-6944 to make an appointment.
Okay, sure. We could hire a pilot to fly one of those skywriting planes to write our name in the sky. We could even add fireworks or a guy in a gorilla suit. Or we could just do what we've always done at shopmidmo.com. Offer you amazing deals from Mid-Missouri's best local businesses. Half off dining, entertainment, self-care, and more. Tell you what, we'll skip the skywriting. You skip paying full price. Visit shopmidmo.com.
Shopmidmo.com. Shopmidmo.com.
You've seen the trucks. You've heard the name, but there still seems to be some confusion. So let's settle this once and for all. Yes, Steve from Steve's Pest Control is a real guy.
Okay, sure. I'll believe in Steve when I see a termite riding a unicorn.
Time to squash those rumors, like Steve squashes spiders. Steve's Pest Control isn't some big corporate chain, and they're not some call center based in the land of make-believe. Steve's Pest Control is a locally owned, family-operated company. From ants to termites, bedbugs to wasps, Steve's crew handles it all with precision and a dash of Midwestern charm.
Hi, I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control.
There it is, proof of Steve's existence. So don't waste your time calling the not-so-local guys and call your friends at Steve's Pest Control. Local, legendary, and 100% real.
We're going to solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business, Steve's Pest Control.
In sports, there are bad calls, like wolfing down walking tacos before 9 a.m. warm-ups, discussing NIL deals with your 8U travel team, or trusting the mom who spells lose with 2 O's to order team jerseys. Yay, go Tigres. Here's a good call. Shopping at Play It Again Sports for baseball and softball season. Play It Again Sports. Think of them first, so you don't finish last. Play It Again Sports, ColumbiaMo.com. Extra savings, not extra letters.
Whoops.
Back to more of the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. You've got The Big Show on the KTGR app.
Pete texted in, maybe I missed it. Where did you guys take SLU? Brendan, where'd you take SLU?
I took SLU to beat Georgia because, as longtime listeners of our SEC basketball tiers segment know, I felt the Bulldogs were fraudulent all year long. And obviously, I guess I was half wrong because they're here. But I took SLU to beat them, even if I'm not totally confident. I'm a little worried about SLU in the same way I am Mizzou when it just comes to like recent performance. They haven't been as crisp, and we know the Tigers have not been either.
That's why I took Georgia.
You took Georgia, yeah. And I get that. Can I full disclosure? I mean, I guess I don't want to ruin anything for tomorrow. Miami is who I wrote in my bracket. I know that doesn't necessarily mean anything because you guys know I try to play mind games with this stuff, but the stuff we talked about in over-unders, I'll bring up again tomorrow, and matchup-wise, it's a tricky one. But, like, that's the beauty of this tournament is that you can look at it on paper and go, yeah, that one's not going to be the trendy upset 10/7 to pick. And then Mizzou's going to win it by 12. Like, anything can happen. But, yeah, I picked SLU to win a game and then to get get crushed by Michigan, but I'll be rooting on the Billikens for sure if they happen to get that matchup against the other Block M.
Yeah, that's tonight. Sioux and Georgia, 8:45
tip.
Yep.
Why do we get these late games for my teams I care about?
Well,
approximately.
That's just tough, buddy.
Here's another one.
Yeah.
I want to bring this up, and you're going to disagree with me.
Okay.
But I want to bring it up.
Yeah.
I saw this from today at Enterprise Center. Mizzou had availability. Dennis Gates. I don't know the question because I didn't see the whole thing. I just saw the clip, right? But this was posted by Aaron Ladd, who does TV here in town.
Yep.
And he posted a clip of Dennis Gates saying, quote, "I don't view it as a home game because it's not at Mizzou Arena on Norm Stewart Court." He continued to say, "I don't know that I can project the ticket sales," and then the video cuts off, so I don't know the rest of what he said. I just feel like that was an opportunity for Gates to do, maybe he's leaning away from it because of the "it's drivable, be there" that kind of took off on social media last year and did not fare well after Mizzou did not show up for their game against Drake. But you don't have to necessarily lean into what everybody is saying about, Mizzou didn't deserve to be getting a home game here. I think he kind of went on defense mode of that with that quote instead of just kind of could have thrown a softball love fest to Mizzou fans of I know our fans are going to be there and they're going to be excited about this game. I feel like he kind of just sometimes goes out of his way to be correct on a technicality, but could have really PR'd it up for us to get us hyped up and just chose to go, "I do not know the ticket sales and how many they sold." And it's give us something.
I mean, yeah, it is an odd way to kind of take the question that direction.
It's not a big deal, but
it's not.
Give me something,
The other side of it is, and we had Gabe DeArmond on, and he mentioned this yesterday, look, not the first time this year that Mizzou has played in this building. And, last time they played in that building, it didn't go well.
They played against the fact
team
they were playing
close
building,
to,
though.
Yeah, I mean, but technically, probably won't be half filled with Miami fans. I understand that. But the fact is, there were a good amount of Mizzou fans still there anyway, and the building did not really help them.
That's
so
a bad argument.
And even
Is that
if
what
they
Gabe
had
said?
more,
come on.
Well, no, not even that. It's just the fact that, look, if you're in this situation and you saw this building already, well, you don't have great memories in this building from your last time out there. You still have to button up and look, there will be a bigger swing in your favor if you put together back-to-back buckets. The place will get louder.
The crowd pop is going to be there. Yeah,
it's not going to be as unique as it is during bragging rights, which is just different from everything else you experience all year. But the fact that this building is a building that you lost by anyone by 43 points, you're going to need more than just a building on your side, right? You're going to need to still play your best, and you are still traveling. It's still a business trip, and you're spending a couple of days here to get ready for it. So I don't mind that Dennis Gates started the question that way. You're right, though, and we didn't hear the full answer. It's just
I'm
a short clip
that part
from that. Yeah, you could also say, but we're excited to have so much fan support here. Definitely
it's
better
a unique
for our fans
opportunity.
To be able to do it. Yeah. But the team has to treat it as look, we're going away from our gym, and so we gotta figure out how to find our comfort zone within.
It may be intentional that he's trying not to get his guys, hearing or seeing anything out of their element of
and that'd be fine.
Feeling like we've got it in the bag because we've got this great draw, right? I don't think as a coach that you're probably too thrilled when everybody around you is talking about how wonderful your draw was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'd almost rather say, give me something to put on the bulletin board of we're getting screwed.
And nobody believes in us. Yeah, exactly.
And they're not. Everybody's going, wow, what a dream scenario.
Everybody's how lucky did Mizzou get? Yeah.
And so thinking about it from that perspective, Andy, that's probably why Gates takes that approach that he does, which, he's the coach for a reason. But we're the doofuses that sit here for a reason. And so I was I just wanted to bring that up and see what we thought. But I think that's a good conversation. I'll say this, you look at some of the other NCAA tournament sites in the first round, it ain't $220 get-in price at a lot of these other venues. And so I think that's going to be the sign that it will be favorable to the black and gold tomorrow night.
Well, we'll be giving our predictions tomorrow on Friday's big show. And you'll hear from us from St. Louis. In fact, both of us, Brendan will be in his usual spot in St. Louis. I'll be in a new spot in St. Louis, getting set for the game. So we'll be on site, ready to go.
Blame Andy for the audio issues if we have any.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be all on me.
It'll be good,
much.
though.
Yeah.
Getting in the building, we'll both be in the building tomorrow night. And, hopefully it'll be weird because we'll be waiting until Monday's big show to be able to react to not only that game, but possibly a game on Sunday.
We might have some YouTube exclusive. We'll see how much stamina I have left at, past midnight.
AM.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, get back to the hotel room and see if I'll fire it up. We'll see.
Experience that walk that I've made so many times. I was shot doing that once.
Oh, yeah.
Not by a real gun.
I don't know if I'm going to be walking tonight. Try the ride
I think
share.
you'll park in the garage probably after the game.
So we'll see how that goes.
Those late night walks.
Anyway, Cardinals solidifying the rotation. We need your thoughts, Brendan, now on how that shakes out. Not unexpected.
I think, not unexpected when it comes to Liberatore being named the open day starter. It was something that he was talking on podcasts as far back as January, December, saying that it was something he wanted for himself.
Yeah.
I think it was always going to be him as long as he got through the spring healthy and had a normal spring. I think it made sense to wait. This is a little bit later than they named the guy in previous years because, Liberatore is a new undertaking for him. So I think it makes sense to wait a little bit longer to make it official as they did. But I think it's an opportunity that he's excited for and he's ready for. I think more interesting is the back end of the rotation and that it looks like it's going to be Andre Palante still in this rotation after Richard Fitz is optioned yesterday to AAA Memphis. Had a kind of uneven spring, did Fitz, but I think he's going to be one of those. I was trying to avoid a way to say that he fits in, but he does. He fits in his depth. And that's really what I think you need if you're Heimblum and if you're Ollie Marmol to feel like you can run your major league team the way that you need to. But if you have an injury, if you have a guy that's wearing down, you've got an option that you can turn to. And I think Quinn Matthews is another guy that can develop into that. So that's the difference for this year compared to last year. Not as much known commodities at the high end of your rotation. Like Sonny Gray, everybody knew what you could expect from him. We'll see how Liberatore handles this new role. But I think they have number 6 and number 7 and maybe even number 8 once Hunter Dobbins gets back to health. And he's not had a setback or anything. He's just still recovering from an ACL. I think that's the difference this year is you've got not guys that are superstars down there, but you've got guys with a little big league experience that you can plug in here and there, and it won't be the end of the world. That's sort of the way I view the rotation going in.
Which I feel like, we need to see some pretty strong numbers, I would think, from Palante right at the start for him to prove that he's worthy of keeping that spot.
Microscope's on him.
Yeah,
Microscope's on him.
That's
for sure.
kind of the thing with that aspect. I would think about Dobbins as maybe once he's healthy, you try to ramp him up to the point where he slots in if Palante's not lighting the world on fire, right?
Yeah, and you look at Palante's spring, 14 innings, a 2.57 ERA. That's a good ERA.
Yeah.
But I think you got to look at more than just ERA in the spring. Still had 5 walks, right? That's been a thing for him, is giving up the free base runners, and then he gets himself into trouble that he can't always dig out of with the ground ball double play. The strikeout rate is still low, 11 strikeouts in 14 innings. He's a guy with a capped upside. He's never going to be a number 1 or a number 2 or even really a number 3. But if Andre Palante can be a requisite number 4 or number 5 for this Cardinals team, and you can get the flash that you've seen in Kyle Leahy to go into a starter spot and, continue in that role where suddenly it's whoa, who knew Kyle Leahy was a legit MLB number 3 in your rotation? It's hey, McGreevy is just cool as a cucumber, man. He just keeps doing it. He's not going to have the on paper numbers of some of the other number 2s in the league, but on that given day, I think you don't mind going to war behind him with him on the mound. I think that's the way that his teammates feel about Michael McGreevy. And then Liberatore's got to be the guy that develops into that bulldog, that top dog. And we'll see if he can do it.
And we didn't even and Dustin May, who's throwing the velocity's up, man. It's back to where it needs to be.
Point. That's honestly probably your guy that if you're talking about a dream scenario where the Cardinals shock the world and they're a playoff team, Dustin May is starting one of those first 2 games in a best 2 out of 3 type of wild card series. And, I think the Cardinals would need that level of production from him and that level of health from him to break in that direction for them to be that good this year. But, yeah, he's exciting. And if nothing else, maybe the Cardinals don't have that kind of season. But if Dustin May can be like, hey, what everybody thought you were going to be with the Dodgers, Dustin May, they are trading him for a really good prospect in July. Like, that's just a fact. So it's a really interesting situation that the Cardinals have not been in. It reminds me of that Aroldis Chapman signing for the Royals when they were able to get Cole Reagans out of him because they just timed it so perfectly. Look, I'd love for the Cardinals to make the playoffs, but if not, I think that's a really good situation. We're going to be tracking Dustin May all year to see, hey, can he be one of the commodities of the trade deadline and turn into a really good blue chipper if you're the Cardinals?
So, again, it'll be Matthew Liberatore starting the first game, and then in any other order that they decide, Dustin May, Michael McGreevy, Kyle Leahy, Andre Palante, and we'll see what happens 1 week from today. Home opener for the Cardinals. Can you believe it? It's here. Spring training's wrapping up this weekend. And, spring breakouts happening right now. Apparently, some young guys showing out for the Cardinals.
Joshua Baez hit a home run in the spring breakout today, and you might see him this year.
Maybe.
That's another thing to get into is the left field, the outfield stuff where Jordan Walker is struggling, but you've got other guys that are, Nelson Velasquez, maybe an interesting piece that you see. So we'll see. I think it'll be a fun baseball summer here in Missouri for both teams.
We're going to be tracking it all over the next few months. Starts next week. You'll hear Cardinals games right here on KTGR. We're back tomorrow at 4. Let's give our predictions officially for Mizzou Miami in St. Louis for the late night game. But stay tuned. Brad Tregnago and company going to give you coverage of Mizzou women's basketball in the WBIT playing at Seton Hall tonight. Tip off at 6. Coverage in a few minutes here on KTGR. We'll see you tomorrow. He's Brendan. I'm Andy. We're done for now.
The nominations are in. Now it's time to pick the winners. Now through April 12th.